Oh, how's everyone doing today? This is Bob Gums bringing you the Concerned Forum. Uh, if I don't seem like my excuse me, my cheery self this evening, uh, I hope you'll understand. I'm pretty pissed off, to be quite honest about it. Very, very upset. But let's get into this. You know what I found out today? I found out that a Supreme Court judge, which one was it? It wasn't Thomas this time. It was his buddy Alito. During the period of 6 January, this guy takes an American flag because he has a flagpole outside his house. And he hangs the flag upside down. We know he did that because his neighbors took pictures of it. Which also, by the way, that says a hell of a lot about how well he gets along with his neighbors. I understand that taking the picture of his flag being upside down was some type of a community enterprise. So I don't think that there's a lot of love lost between Supreme Court Justice Alito and his neighbors. It turns out that he is in sympathy with the insurrectionists. You know, the people that tried to kill congressmen and the vice president at that time. And I'm wondering why, there must be a way that the Supreme Court can be shown its proper place in a democratic republic. Because, you got Thomas. This guy's raking in the dough from his rich friends, one of whom has his mom living in the house rent-free. And you got his wife. She actively, as a matter of fact, his wife should be held on charges because she was making all these phone calls, the fake elector scandal. And we have to face facts, folks. There is a plot against the government of the United States of America. And that plot is being conducted primarily by the Republican Party. Not just Trump. I mean, Trump is like the band leader, but there are quite a few other Republicans involved. As a matter of fact, that is why you have so many sane Republicans abandoning the Republican Party. In the Republican primary, look at the amount of votes. And I mean, I'm not a great fan of hers, but she does believe in the same law and order that I do. Nikki Haley from South Carolina, no less. And you have thousands of people voting in the Republican primary for Nikki Haley. Of course, Trump wins the primaries, but it's not a blowout. Have you checked the Pennsylvania primaries? You're talking 15,000, 20,000, more than that in many places. So forgive me when I say Republicans, because they're not really Republicans. These people that are following Trump, okay? But what are we going to call them now? Trump publicans? I used to say it quite, frequently, and I will say it again. I don't give a damn who doesn't like it. I grew up in the Republican Party. Oh, yes. This is not the Republican Party. They have thrown out their basic standards over the last 10 years. And this is why you see these clowns like the seven dwarfs, although I guess there were more than seven, coming up from D.C., coming here to New York. We want to show solidarity with Donald Trump. So you want to show solidarity. You want to bend the knee to this crook, to this traitor, to this misogynist maniac. Okay, good. Knock yourself out. But the one good thing out of all of this terrible mess is that we know who you are. And we're not going to be taken in by your bullshit anymore. Now, I have a problem with the Speaker of the House, the leader of the House Democrats, okay? Because they literally saved this guy, what's his name, from Louisiana, Johnson. They saved his speakership because his own Republican Party has blown itself apart. They were getting ready to throw him out, and it will be the same thing as it was a few months ago when it took him, 15 weeks to come up with somebody to be the Republican speaker. So when I look at people that tell me that they're supporting Trump, I don't know what to say. You're not getting any invites to my table anytime soon. But it's a hell of a lot bigger than that. Because I'm looking at you and you don't look like a traitor. You don't look like a fool. You don't look like a Klansman. But hey, that's the head of the Republican Party nowadays. That's why so many Republicans have either left the party, right? Or they're just like, yeah, I'm a Republican, but let's keep it on the down low, okay? Or you have a lot of them that secretly they plan to vote Democrat. But for those who actively identify themselves as Republicans, these people are nothing but traitors. You want to smash NATO. You think Putin is a great guy. I guess you also think that the head of China is a great guy. As we're finding out, so much business has been done between the Trump family and China. See, that's the thing about Trump. If this guy's getting money from you, he don't give a damn. He is the ultimate whore, okay? As a matter of fact, I have more respect for streetwalkers than I could ever have for Donald Trump. Because that woman out there plying her trade, we know what she's doing. And that's on her. But Trump and these other Republicans who dress all nice with the $2,000, $3,000 suits and everything, whores, nothing but whores, okay? Now somebody will say, well, Democrats have done skullduggery. I haven't heard yet of a Democrat that dealing in graft. I haven't heard about one of them yet that would sell us out to the Russians. Trump will. And now this is me talking, okay? Uh, Based on my little teeny tiny experience as an intelligence type, um, having been out there with the fleet, and I will tell you, quite frankly, I honestly believe Trump has already sold us out. And I tell you, I would be leery. I love the Navy with all my heart. Uh, One of the top three biggest mistakes I made in my life was leaving the Navy when I did. But I made a choice. I had my reasons. Uh, that's water under the bridge. But if any young man or woman would approach me and ask me, well, hey, I'm getting ready to get out of high school or I'm getting ready to get a GED, uh, I'm thinking about going in the service, I'd tell them, go Navy. Go Navy. And if I had it to do all over again, I would do it in a heartbeat. The only difference is I would have re-enlisted. But as I was saying, based upon my experience, small as it might be, I believe that Trump has already sold this country down the river. He's done it with his mouth. When you have private conferences with the biggest dictator on the planet, or maybe second biggest dictator on the planet, and you insist that you don't have an aide, you don't have your own translator in the room, and it's just you, Putin, and Putin's man or woman, uh, what else could I think? That what you have to say is so top secret to a rival nation that you don't want anything recorded. See, that's number one to me. Secondly, this guy and this thing of the top secret documents. Look, let me tell you something. People make mistakes with top secret documents. It happens. It happens. Not a lot, but it does happen. I've seen it happen to people. Excuse me, 1 second. Mo, I'm going to call you back in about 40 minutes. I'm on the air. I said I'm going to call you back in about 40 minutes. I'm on the air. Okay. I had to take that phone call. Good friend of mine. He was very helpful for both my son and myself, and he was there when we needed a friend. Um, right after my wife passed away, so I take his call. I knew it was coming, and I took it. But getting back to the point, this guy and these top secret documents that he has, how should I say, played around with, and I use that term advisedly. You can lose or misplace top secret documents. Okay, uh, I've never seen any lost. I mean, I've heard about them being lost. I've never seen one being lost. Uh, However, I have seen them misplaced. Um, Remember this Air Force guy? Well, anyway, that's another story. Well, it was a mistake. You're dealing with human beings, okay? So you can't expect perfection. You can work as hard as you can to come as close to it as you can. But people will make mistakes. What makes Donald so different in this case of classified documents was the fact that he was made aware that documents that he had in his possession were top secret documents, and we would please like for you to return them. And he sat on them. You know, he played games with the FBI. Oh, no, they're over there. No, they're not over there. They're over here. No, they were back over there. Remember that period? He had his, what was it, like his body man or whatever? His valet, whatever title he gave this gentleman. He got him involved in it. You know, back and forth. And then coming to find out that he did have the documents after all. He just didn't want to give them up. So I'm trying to figure out why in the hell you are a former president of the United States. Why is it so important to you to hold on to these documents? For what reason? I haven't heard anybody come up with any clear reason as to why. Now, you hear the Trump people making jokes about Joe Biden. Oh, Grandpa lost him and he forgot where he put him. Hey, you know what? Possible. But Joe Biden, you know, he didn't lie about the damn thing. He didn't insist upon, you know, hanging on to this stuff. Remember, he was vice president and he left the White House with Obama. And he didn't, you know, he didn't walk around crying, I must keep these documents. I have a right to these documents. He did what was supposed to be done. Anytime they found out, hey, Mr. Vice President, we still have you down for a couple of documents here. What's up with that? Oh, okay, boom. Oh, here they are. You know, maybe somebody was using it to, I don't know, doing some research or something for me, and, you know, it just got misplaced. That happens. Like I said, we're not perfect. But for Trump to stand up there and say, well, these are my documents, and I have a right to hold on to them. Hey, listen, man, you don't. You know, just like Harry Truman said, and this is right after he lost his election, and he's heading back to Missouri, and he says, well, in a democracy like we have, the people are the ones that run the show. They're superior to the president. So I guess now that I'm no longer president, but just a plain citizen, I guess that's a promotion. But see, Donald doesn't look at it like that. He believes that he's something on God, you know, he's on God's level. He's equal to God. I believe that it will be a very short time that he'll be saying that he is above God. I've heard some of his followers out there in red state land say exactly that. I'll listen to Donald Trump over the word of Jesus Christ. And that's scary. That is scary. And see, that's something else I'm a little sick and tired of. I'm sick and tired of his threats. I'm sick and tired of the threats of his followers. I would love to see Joe Biden start making some threats, such as, if we catch you stepping over the constitutional line, we're going to lock your butt in jail, period. End of story. But that's one of the problems that I have with my side, with the Democratic Party. Okay, we don't act like crazy maniacs with bloodlust. And I'm starting to believe that sometimes, in order to maintain a democracy, that's how you have to act. Not illegally, but just, straight up. Don't play with people. You have to let them know, don't play with me. But see, that's one of the problems that we have now with the Supreme Court. Because apparently some of these justices, they don't seem to understand that they come from us. They are part of the people. We don't have any particular rulers in this country. We vote for elected officials, and that's it. And the elected officials are the ones who appoint the judges. Now, I find it very strange that you can bust a judge and on any level in any part of the country, but a Supreme Court judge, there's so many little, how should I put it? There's a great hesitation. And I understand that, because if you start treating Supreme Court justices like punks, hey, sit down, smack you in the face. If you start treating them like that, then people are not going to have respect for the federal laws that these guys and gals are supposed to make judgments upon. But see, what happens when you have a Supreme Court where you have maybe 2 or 3 guys or gals that they feel that they're above the people? Now, I think that the whole thing with the abortion business, what was that, Roe versus Wade? I think that's a damn good example, because women had a right for over 50 years, and now you're going to come along and say, well, no, we're taking that right back. Well, gee, supposedly slavery is supposed to be illegal in this country, chattel slavery. So what, you gonna take that back? I got to worry about walking down the street and getting kidnapped, shipped to Mississippi or Alabama? Oh, Jesus. Or Florida? But see, we have to be damn careful as this stuff goes on. And you have a section of this government, one of the political parties, they want to treat American people like suckers. Or like we say back in the neighborhood, yo, you treat this guy like a chump. Stop treating us like chumps, right? Look, no party is perfect, okay? You got funky Democrats out there just like you got funky Republicans. However, in this time period, it would seem that the Republicans are the ones that want to take away our government. Why? Why do they want to do that? Why do they think they can abolish Social Security? Why do they think that's a good thing? Why can't we have decent health care like other civilized countries? Why is that? And why, if somebody tries to, they were getting ready to try and dog out Obama. See, but to a point, he was a little bit too smart for them. But they think that they can get Trump in there again. Hey, for them, the sky is the limit. When Trump left the White House, I think there was 19,000 on the stock market. Yesterday, it hit 40,000. Problem with that is you got some types of wealthy people can make money hand over fist, but they still ain't satisfied. They want to try and create an environment where the masses of people are peasants, serfs. Hey, you folks out there in red state land want to follow behind Trump? You're crying because of the fact that that dream of middle class has said bye-bye to you? Don't blame Democrats, okay? Don't blame Democrats. It's a shame what happened to the Republican Party, what it allowed itself to become, all right? The Republican Party, most black folks were registered Republicans. Even after they started voting for the Kennedys, they were registered Republicans. But what a few people in the Republican Party decided to do, they felt that, look, we're not strong enough. We need to get more people. Where are we going to get them from? Well, you got a lot of white men in the South, especially. They don't like the civil rights movement. They don't like civil rights. Let's see what we can do to bring them over, bring them to us, all right? I mean, this is all documented, okay? And that guy, that was a young guy, what the hell was his name? He apologized as he was dying because he had, as a matter of fact, he had the same kind of thing that Joe Biden's kid had, with some kind of like a brain infection or cancer or something like that. Yeah, and he apologized. I think he called Jesse Jackson. I believe he spoke to, was it Coretta, King's wife, or one of the kids, and someone else. I can't remember who. Some other black civil rights leader. Because he wanted to apologize because he admitted, yeah, I created a lot of hate in this country. And that's the story of the Republican Party in the 20th century. And that also touches upon something else. Let me go ahead and start speaking on it now because, I start running my mouth and I run out of time. But you're going to have some people going to the black and Hispanic community, especially the black community. Now, it's a funny thing. Racist, bigoted people, for some reason, I don't know, they don't want to stand up and just say, well, yeah, I'm a racist. So what? What of it? Hey, I can respect that. But don't try to make a sucker out of me. Don't try to play me. You have these people that they're saying to themselves, well, let's try and do something about our image. You notice a few times, right, when Trump is having one of his, y'all call it rallies in the media. I call it a Klan meeting, okay? It sounds very similar. He'll have 2 or 3 black people sitting right behind them. Make sure the cameras will pick them up, right? Now, I know we know he paid some people. Like the time he came down the escalator here in Trump Towers, here in New York. What was it, like $50 a head or something to go, yay, yo, Donald, right? So we do know that for a fact, that that's what that campaign does. But I'll be honest about it. With the history, and you have some people crying about, oh, we shouldn't get into, what do they call it? Tribal politics or racial politics. Look, that's crap, okay? Show me a mayor that don't march in St. Patty's Day parade. Show me a politician that don't hang out with the Knights of Columbus, right? Show me a politician that's not out there on Israeli Independence Day. I mean, come on, that's part of the game. Why? The reason why it's you got to be careful, and you do have to deal in racial politics or ethnic politics or tribal politics is because that's what makes America. Because we all, with the exception of Cochise, my indigenous brothers and sisters, we all come from someplace else. No, none of us have any claim to this land except for indigenous Native American people. And we should never forget that. But everybody else, even me, okay? Yeah, okay, well, we didn't come willingly. We came over here in chains. But that's not the point that I'm trying to make now. The point is that we all come from someplace else. Everybody's a special interest. I'm a black male. I have a special interest. I'm also a black male um, disabled veteran. So I'm like about what 2 or 3 special interest groups in one. I used to be a Roman Catholic, black American male, disabled veteran. So what's that? That's about 3 right there. Former Roman Catholic, 4. So at one time I was walking around with, plus I went to Catholic school. Okay, so that's 5. So up until a few years ago, I was walking around with 5 different interest groups. So should I be condemned for that? Of course not, because that's America. What we're talking about is fairness, okay, versus unfairness. When you start talking about putting one group up and putting another group down, that's wrong. And that should never be allowed. And no, that has nothing to do in terms of, because they scream about affirmative action. Okay, you know one affirmative action in colleges? Guess what? You know that football team and that basketball team that's bringing in all that money? Well, guess what? That's done. That's over. You go to college to get a freaking degree to learn. Okay? You're sitting up there. You got a seat in the class because of the fact that you can make a damn good jump shot. Now, everybody keep your pants on, right? Don't soil your underwear, okay? I think it would be stupid to do something like that. Just as stupid as some idiotic, Tuberville? The guy that's a senator? Never did anything except being a former football coach. Apparently, he did a lot of scrimmages without wearing a helmet. Okay? I mean, how many of his players were A students? But see, Americans, we have gotten into this thing where we allow people to play games with us. Yeah, they play games with white folks one kind of way. They play games with upper income white folks another kind of way. They play games with black folks. They play games with Latino. It's a freaking game. Except the games that the Republicans play hurt people, and they diminish us as Americans. They diminish what we stand for, what we're supposed to be about. And that's the problem. Now you have a situation where the Republicans, they are desperate to try and get into the black community, to pull votes. Why? Because, like I said, they're desperate. People do not like Republicans, okay? They do not care for Republicans. The last 7 elections, they've only won one time. Oh, and by the way, 2016, Trump didn't win that. Trump was appointed because we have an electoral college system in this country which is another curse left over from our chattel slavery days. Okay? So, as you can see, Republicans hardly ever win. Boom, let's call a special election. Bing, Democrat wins. Let's call another one. Bing, Democrat wins. I will bet you my next paycheck 10 elections, 10 special elections. I bet you the Democrats will win they'll win at least 7, okay, 7 to 8, if not more. But I would say at least 7 to 8. Because the Republican Party, over the last 30 years or so, they have made themselves disgusting, quite frankly. Think I'm lying? Ask any young woman that needs to have an abortion and has already had 2 children, and she has some issues internally with her tubes or what have you. So for her to procreate more, she needs to get that abortion to clean everything out. But Republicans don't care about that. They don't give a damn if she gets blood poisoning. Look at Texas. Look at, what was that last spot? Ohio. They don't care if you were a raped 12 or 13-year-old girl. You know, and people start to ask, what kind of people are these? What kind of people poke fun at a handicapped man? Well, we had a president of the United States that made fun of a guy who's handicapped. You remember that, don't you? What kind of human being does that? See, it's not just that Trump is a walking political disaster. He is a moral tragedy. And you want to put that clown back in the White House? Who do you hate? Ah, yeah. See, now you're trying to drag black folks in this, in your madness. Yeah, some damn immigrants. Oh, really? Well, Donald, your supporters were marching in Charlottesville in 2017, screaming that the Jews shall not replace us. And your Republican Party, your Republican compatriots are saying that the Jews are trying to help Hispanics come in to replace white workers. I want you to tell me where this is at. You know? What type of work are we talking about? I mean, because come on, let's get real here. We're supposed to be the United States. We're supposed to be one of the best educated Western countries, right? And you are going to begrudge somebody the chance to come up here and wash dishes in a restaurant or pick freaking lettuce? Donald, don't drag us into your madness. Because you're trying to have black folks buying into this immigrant crap. And that's exactly what it is, crap. I haven't replaced anybody. I do my thing, and that's it. Hopefully I do it well. But that's the way an American's supposed to think. And in the meantime, you have all these business organizations running around saying, help us, help us. We're something like about 15, 20 million people short in the workplace. We need people. But yet you have this orange-headed clown attacking immigration, which, by the way, nobody talks about how his grandfather came over here. The little draft dodger? Okay. Yeah, he tried to dodge the draft in Germany. And this is before Hitler. This is like the 1890s or something. But see, again, don't drag black folks into your madness. We've had enough dealings with hate in this country to know what hate is. I wish that those who are supposedly leaders in the black community, I wish that they would go out and really educate the people in the black community. Better yet, the people in the black community, I know I'm going to catch hell for this one, but they need to do a better job of educating themselves. Just about everybody has a computer, right? Just about everybody has a cell phone. You know, one of these things here, I got practically the Library of Congress in this little damn cell phone here, right? We have to be very careful. And I'm really speaking especially to the black American community. But all the rest of you folks, please be my guests. You can listen in. No secrets here. We have to be careful. We have to be careful of people trying to sell us BS, right? And that's what the Republican Party is trying to do. The Republican Party, especially in your red states, that they are the beehive for the racism, for the hate, and you know they don't seem to want to change. I mean, those who are still with the Republican Party. All you have to do is listen to these people, okay? We have to, in this country, we have to really deal with this racial thing, this color thing once and for all. Otherwise, we're never going to get anywhere. We're never going to be the country that we should be if we don't, you know, if we don't learn who we are as a country. It's like a wound. What do you do for a wound? You clean it out, right? You put a bandage on it, and you let it heal. But how can you let something heal if you don't want to acknowledge the fact that you've been wounded? You know, I'm on the flight deck. I'm back in my aircraft carrier. I'm on the flight deck. There's an explosion. We have ammo on the flight deck. Piece of the shrapnel flies off, boom, smacks me right in my left side, right here in my left shoulder, right? What happens if I just pay it no mind and just go on ahead and, you know, do my thing and don't think about it? Eventually, I'm going to get blood poison and probably have to chop my damn arm off if I don't die from the blood poisoning, from sepsis. Well, a country is just like a person, right? We've had a bad run when it comes to respecting people's human dignity. This ain't Black Lives Matter speaking to you, okay? I'm just a guy who has a thing about, you know, studying history. Same thing I've seen you can see, right? Better yet, go to the Library of Congress. You can sit on your comfortable chair in your room, little room, in front of your computer, and you can go right into the Library of Congress, okay? I remember my mom used to tell me, I'm gonna make you a free man. And I said, what are you talking about? I was a little kid. And she said, come on with me. And she took me to the library, got me my library card, my first library card. And she says, now you are free because nobody can ever make you a slave. My mom told me that. But anyway, she said, nobody can ever make you a slave when you can read and you have that and you have knowledge. And that is what has happened to the black community. Now, remember, these Republicans nowadays, they're just like wolves, right? You ever seen wolves in the wild? They run in packs. You know, they see a bunch of reindeer or something, right? Or deer or cattle. And they'll jump on one and they'll tear her apart, right? Well, Republicans are the same way. They see weakness in our community, in the black community. They see brothers killing each other, right? Like we're back in the boondocks in Southeast Asia or in the Middle East somewhere, killing each other, little kids, just outside playing, getting hit by stray bullets. See, they see all that, and they say, well, hey, that's a weak community. We can tell those suckers anything. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. All these, some of these groups out here, you have to be very careful. Number one, most of them don't know what they're talking about. All right? Education is not a big thing with them. Okay? Because if it was, then they would know their history. And they wouldn't fall for this crap with the Republican Party, what they're trying to pull down. Okay? Am I saying that because I'm black, I could never be Republican? Well, how can that, what kind of logic is that? What kind of sense is that? Black people were Republican in abundance in my lifetime. I grew up in it. I saw this. What do you think made all those black people leave the Republican Party? Or put it this way, stop participating in the Republican Party. Because they saw what was happening to the party. What do you think happened to Colin Powell? Colin Powell was a Republican. Brothers on the street used to, oh man, hell with Powell, he's a sellout. He's a damn Republican, right? Why do you think that happened? Well, he told you why. Because he saw the tenor of the Republican Party. Now, he saw it kind of late, but he did see it. And I give the man credit because he spoke publicly about that the Republican Party was no longer welcome to, well, what did he say, minorities. And he was right. They only seem interested in minorities like that Indian guy that was running for the Republican primary for president. Man, what's his name? I no disrespect to his family name. I cannot pronounce it. I know there's a V in there. But I despise this guy because he despises himself. He has some little crackpot radio show, I believe it is, out west, if I'm not mistaken. And he had that woman, Ann Coulter, on his show as one of his guests. And they're talking about the Democrats and how they're un-American. That typical Republican BS. Somehow the conversation gets about him. And she was saying, something to the effect of, oh, I really like a lot of the things you say, but I couldn't vote for you because you're not a white male. And he had no pertinent response to that. Like, hey, baby, look, we're all Americans here, and that really shouldn't matter. He didn't say that. He kind of laughed about it, Well, one of those kind of things, right? Where the question embarrasses you, but you don't want to make a big deal about it. And he accepted that crap. So if he's willing to accept that BS about his own culture, which is a proud and ancient culture, what, about 10,000 years old, 15,000 years old, something like that, right? And he accepts that type of an insult, that no matter how much brains he has, no matter if he's a good politician, well educated, um, if he had been a war hero, that still would not have been enough for Ann Coulter to vote for him for president, even if he was running against Joe Biden. Think about that. This guy could be the greatest thing. He could be a combination of George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Abe Lincoln, FDR, all wrapped into one. And Ann said she would not vote for him because he's Indian. And his family comes from the Indian subcontinent. What the hell? And he lets her get away with that. So if he lets Coulter get away with that type of disrespect, and there are plenty who are still now active Republicans who think like she does, you can imagine about black folks. I guess that I guess a black person would give her a heart attack. I noticed for the time when Obama was in the White House, you didn't hear that much from her. Well, now we know why. And see, I would caution my folks in the black community to be careful. I know sometimes you think it's cool to go against, well, my parents and my family, they all down with the Democrats. So it might seem to you, especially if you're younger, it might seem that it's cool for you to go against that. Say, well, yeah, I'm just going to be different. Look, it's one thing to try a new fashion style or to do something different with your hair, to feel, yeah, I'm different. This is me. But to go for somebody that really, he could give a damn less about committing genocide towards people that look like you, I don't know, that something's wrong somewhere. That would be self-hatred to the nth degree. And I'm not calling you self-hatred. I don't like getting into that because that's saying, oh, well, you don't see politics my way, so you must hate yourself. No, we're not there yet. That's the crap that Trump has tried to throw on the American Jewish community. No. What this is about survival. This is about putting a man in there who sits at his table, brings to his table. And as far as Kanye West is concerned, he is off the charts, right? We don't need any super black anti-Semites, period. We've had enough problems dealing with hatred. But he also had at his table one of the top 3 biggest anti-black people in the country. So what's this business about? Oh, I have the blacks with me. And even as he tries to get black support, the sneakers, does he think we're a bunch of damn clowns? Why do you want to deal with somebody or follow someone that thinks you're a freaking clown? I'm going to throw away my precious vote that black people died for. There are very few people, groups in this country, that had to die to get the right to vote. You have blacks, uh, Latinos, uh, and you had certain incidents in, especially California, where people were against Japanese and Chinese, against Asians, where people were attacked. But literally, in America, black people were killed for trying to get the right to vote. In the 1860s and the 1870s, all the way up until what? This century. Or I should say, all through the 20th century. And I have people that tell me now the murder against trying to stopping black people from voting, it hasn't stopped yet. Thank God it's not what it once was. Oh, I tell my black friends that you gotta remember we were not full citizens. When I say full citizens, I mean I can go from New York to California and from Texas to North Dakota and sleep in a hotel room, vote, right? You couldn't do that until what, 1965, 66? Until those civil rights bills came. And the Republican Party, at that time, you still had enough decent people in the Republican Party to get that bill through. But then, that's when it begins, over a period of time. The Democrats who didn't like those bills became Republicans. And that's why you see the big switch between the Republicans and the Democrats. You can look it up for yourself. Or you were old enough so that you remember how this whole thing, in our lifetimes, how this whole thing got so out of hand. But I would remind black people, who have you seen out there fighting for your rights? It ain't been Donald Trump. Remember, Trump was the guy that wanted to send 5 innocent black and Hispanic young men, well, at that time they were kids. And he wanted these boys to go to the death house. At that time, we weren't doing death penalty in New York State. He had big ads in the New York Times. They should be executed. Remember that? And then when the truth was found out that the boys were right through the process, utilizing DNA, he refused to retract anything. He refused to retract it. So I would ask these black people that seem to be so hyped up on going for Trump, I would ask them, is this the man that you want for your leader? Think about that. Because like it or not, whoever becomes president, that's your leader. See? And this guy wanted 5 innocent boys of color. I mean, they're grown men now. But they grew up in prison. And leave it to Donald Trump, they wouldn't have grown up in prison. They would be, I think they were still using the electric chair, or they're getting ready to do lethal injection. Either way, they would have been dead for a crime they didn't commit. They would be dead because people like Trump were pushing to bring in the death penalty. And then after it was found out that they were innocent, he refuses to say, well, I'm glad the truth came out. Let's put it behind us. He couldn't say, why couldn't he say something like that? And this is the guy that wants to come for and get black votes? Yeah. Um, we definitely need more decent leadership in the black community. And in the black community, we need to stop spending so much time hurting each other, and we need to start really educating ourselves. It's out there. Nobody's stopping you from using the computer. Nobody's stopping you from going to the library. And I kind of picked this subject to kind of finish up with. And I know I've spoken on this a bit lengthy, but I think that, for those who feel offended by what I said, I suggest that you seek the truth, okay? Because it is what it is. But don't try and make the Democratic Party responsible for a lot of the what we see in the black community. Okay, folks, I'm tired. I truly am. America takes a lot out of you. If you are a thinking person, if you are a thinking person and a person that cares, this country will take a lot out of you. But hey, we're going to make it better. And we're going to keep pitching. We're going to keep fighting. So listen, next time, same time, same channels. This is Bob Gums with the Concerned Forum, and thank you for bringing me into your homes. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other.
I'm in the show. I'll have to call you back.
Hey, what's up, man?
I'm in the show. I'll have to call you back.
Oh, okay. Talk to you later.
To Manhattan Neighborhood Network. Please pay close attention as our menu coming in 38.
Want to come back?
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Constitutional free government would incorporate.
Reinvent your hiring with Test Gorilla. Here's why our model is so effective.
Operations and 20